So where are you guys now? You recording the new album? Doing some interviews, obviously, today. Got to take care of business, right?
Yeah,
Damn it.
yeah, we're recording. We're actually in the writing process now for a new Linkin Park record, and I am in the middle of recording my record for Dead by Sunrise.
Wow, you guys are busy. You announced you were starting on the new album while you're still doing Project Revolution. Was that because, like, the delay between Meteora and Minutes to Midnight, it was a little long because of those delays at the end, so you guys probably learned a lesson there, right? Like, just start right away in case there's any delays later.
It takes us a while to make records. If you combine the time we spend on the road after we release a record and then, add the time it takes for us to actually write and record a record, it's a long time. Most bands tour for like 6-7 months, maybe a year. If they're successful, we typically tour for 2 years. And yeah, we write on the road and stuff, but we don't really want to record a record while we're touring. You're in a different kind of frame of mind. We don't want to just spit records out for the sake of spitting records out. We want to make great records, and that takes time. So we paced ourselves a little better on this last touring cycle where we go out for a couple months and come home for a couple months, which really left us feeling not so burnt out. We should hopefully, crossing my fingers right now, hopefully have a record done by the middle of 2009 and see if maybe we can release it either in fall or by the end of 2009.
So when does the vacation come in? Never?
I mean, from the time we released Hybrid Theory to the end of the touring cycle for Meteora, we had basically either been in the studio or on the road for 5 years straight.
Wow.
And that's crazy.
It is crazy.
That breaks bands up because you're just like, I'm done. I love you guys, but I don't know if I can do this. This is insane. I don't even know where I live. There was literally a period of time, even during this last touring cycle, where I forgot my street address.
Where do I live?
So
when you forget where you live, it's getting bad, isn't it?
Yeah, so, I think our first year, during Hybrid Theory, I think the first year of touring, we'd spent 30 nights in our own beds at home out of the year.
Well, I'm glad you guys were able to hold it together. Does it help that you can say, okay, I'm living my dream, I'm doing what I love? It still gets to a breaking point, though.
Yeah, exactly. No matter how great something is, you kind of need a break from it every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like when you're having those 4-hour tantric sex sessions, Like, I'm sure you can relate to this. It's like, wow, I just need to take a break, have an Aquafina,
Exactly. After a while, anything that feels really great starts to chafe. So yeah, that was kind of the whole point of us kind of pacing ourselves in this last touring cycle. And so what we've done is we just finished touring in September, and we were going to be right in the studio, writing and recording. And so I think that is a good sign. So hopefully we'll have the record out next year. It just kind of depends on the quality of the music that we choose to work on. And
right.
That's something that's completely out of your control. You can always plan. It's like, I'm going to make a great record in the next 2 months, and it's not really that easy.
You're in a good position, though, I feel like, because you've already got a lot of material for the new album, and to sort of hold people over, you got this live album, Road to Revolution, that came out yesterday, and it's getting awesome reviews. One of the reviews said you get the sights and sounds because you get the DVD and the CD, but you don't get the smell of the sweat, which, you don't really want that anyway.
Right. What was really special about it was the fact that, we had never taken Project Revolution out of the United States, and, our fans basically petitioned us for the last couple of years, and they were like, why don't you bring this over here? Why do you keep all the good things for America? We decided to take it over, and it was more successful than we could have ever possibly imagined. And there was about 50,000 people there at Milton Keynes for that show, and we'd have to play 6 shows in the U.S. at Project Revolution to get 50,000 people there.
What kind of guests are on it? I know Jay-Z's on there. Who else you got on there?
Him came out for a couple shows. We had NERD come out for a couple shows. Those guys were amazing. What's up, buddy? Sorry, but that was my son.
That's all right. He rightfully wants Daddy's attention when you're not on tour. But yeah, I bet you and NERD, that combination with Pharrell and those guys was really cool.
They were amazing live. I wasn't sure what to expect. I liked the band, but that was seriously one of the most punk rock shows I've ever seen.
So the next album's going to be a concept record? That's what I'm hearing?
We are not sure. We're kind of on the fence about that one. We have some ideas we've been kicking around. That's a kind of interesting monster to conquer. So we're working on kind of a more standard style record as well as a concept record that will go along with some cool multimedia stuff.
Listening to a lot of Floyd, maybe?
We've been listening to some concept records. We've been kind of like examining The Who, examining Pink Floyd, Styx, stuff like that, to kind of like understand what makes a good concept record and what makes a bad one.
It's such a vague concept in itself, the concept record. You have a concept for a record, but what makes it a concept record, it's kind of a broad concept.
Yeah, I mean, For me, I think Dark Side of the Moon was probably the best. That's like kind of where you want to go in terms of having an idea of a feel for a record, but it doesn't have one underlying kind of theme.
Right.
You know, The Wall was a great example of having a theme and sticking to it through the entire album, even though I think some of it at times kind of feels redundant. And then you have, like, you know, The Who's Tommy, which was, in a lot of ways, really kind of out there in terms of the music because it was really operatic, very theatrical, not very commercial. But at the same time, that was a big middle finger to society. Like, you're all sheep. You'll believe anything. And it was pretty aggressive.
That's still relevant today, too, that theme.
I watched it just the other day to kind of, like, revamp it in my mind, and I was kind of, it was crazy. Just, you kind of forget a lot of the things that are going on in that movie because there's so much information to take in. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's, you know, considered probably the greatest concept work.
You know, when you think of album-oriented rock, does it ever frustrate you? Do you ever think about the radio releases? Because as a fan and as someone who's in radio, I get frustrated because I really love the album Minutes to Midnight, but I thought the radio releases could have been picked better, and I know that's picked by the record company.
Right.
Because Leave Out All the Rest was the last single that was chosen, and that's another slow one. I thought In Pieces would have been a better choice. You get the electronic element, but it's more a beat.
Mm-hmm. I really felt that was a single as well, and there's a reason why bands don't pick singles, I guess.
Right.
You know, I go through this with every record. And on Hybrid Theory, I thought Paper Cut should have been the lead single. I actually didn't think One Step Closer was a very good song.
Wow.
Quite honestly, I thought it was really, I mean, you listen to that song compared to, like, Crawling.
Right.
You know, Crawling is a really good, deep song, and One Step Closer is just kind of like a, you know, go lift weights. But but at the same time, like, you know, I've grown to love it because other people saw something in it that I didn't see. So
I just hope they listen to the album.
You know?
Yeah.
Every record's different. I really like In Pieces. I thought Given Up should have been a lead single. I thought No More Sorrow could have been a single. When you hear Leave Out All the Rest, it's kind of, for the first time, you go, that's a hit. And, you know, when you hear something like In Pieces, you go, that's a really good song. When you have a chance to sit with the record for a while, you know, the really beautiful pieces start to pop out, like In Between, like In Pieces. It's those songs that kind of grow on you, and you go, I wonder why this didn't really come out as a single. And I think it's because it's not so obvious, you know, where what I've done was kind of like, oh, I get it. That's probably going to be the single.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Chester, I appreciate it, man. I'm going to let you get back to your son. Good luck on the new album.
Thank you very much.